Welcome to the EQS SUV, the first full-option, full-size, full-electric Mercedes-Benz SUV. Just like its name implies, this gigantic SUV is the high-bodied alternative to the EQS fastback sedan, which is built on the same EVA platform. EVA stands for Electric Vehicle Architecture and is used by Mercedes for the EQE, EQS, and their SUV counterparts. Thanks to this, there is more than just a family resemblance regarding design between the EQS and EQS SUV. Apart from their platforms, the two electric models share a myriad of components both visible and not, including the powertrains and the battery, which fit perfectly thanks to the identical wheelbases. Speaking of powertrains, from the two available options at this time, we got to test drive the EQS SUV 580 4MATIC, whose moniker is a bit misleading if you're not familiar with Mercedes-Benz nomenclature. The 4MATIC part of the name obviously implies that the model is all-wheel drive, with one electric motor powering the front axle and a second one powering the rear. While Stuttgart told everyone to believe the EQS is the electric correspondent to the S-Class, it's not. It would be safe to assume that the EQS SUV is the electron-powered equivalent to a GLS, right? Well, not exactly, even though the models aren't that far off regarding interior size or passenger features. Both the GLS and the EQS SUV are premium full-size SUVs with up to 7 seats, trick air suspension, and features such as intelligent climate control, gigantic sunroofs, and Barmester 3D sound systems. The EQS SUV is slightly shorter, albeit a lot heavier than the GLS in its 580 iteration, and despite the similarities, the overall vibe is that of entirely different animals. In other words, it's like comparing apple and applesauce. They taste almost the same, but have way different textures. On the other hand, comparing the EQS SUV with the EQS sedan feels more appropriate, especially considering the identical platform. That is when the electric SUV shows its trump card, as the model is and especially feels a lot roomier than its sedan counterpart, making it even more comfortable and relaxing on a long drive. Speaking of long drives, because it's slightly heavier and not as aerodynamic as the sedan model, the EQS SUV has a lower range than the liftback sedan. Official numbers say it can travel up to 382 miles in WLTP testing or 285 miles EPA, which is close to what we managed with our tester equipped with 21-inch winter tires. On the topic of vehicle features, the EQS SUV is just as quirky as its sedan brethren, meaning you can spec it with the giant so-called hyperscreen or the uncanny-looking 10-degree rear steering system. Apart from providing you with some techie eye candy, the features you can control with the MBUX infotainment system make the model feel even more premium than it is. Our test car wasn't equipped with the 7-seat option, meaning its downright cavernous interior also benefited from 31 cubic feet of luggage space, with all the seats in place and without filling the trunk to the ceiling. The optional 10-degree rear steering, apart from being a cool party trick for your friends, actually helps the 201.8-inch long SUV have a turning circle of a Mercedes-Benz A-Class, or 36 feet. Its unassuming design doesn't do much in explaining its status to bystanders, not like the GLS anyway, but you'll never miss it in a crowded parking lot looking like it hovers above everything else and blocking the sun like the spaceship from Independence Day. And about hovering, that's a pretty good impression of how the standard 3-chamber air suspension works on the EQS SUV. There's no suspension system out there that can entirely hide a heft of 2.8 tons, but the Airmatic does punch way above its weight, pun 100% intended. The suspension works in mysterious ways to keep the EQS SUV the right side up in just about every driving situation, especially when you select the Sport driving mode. Make no mistake, there is nothing sporty about something that weighs as much as a small building trying to go fast around corners, but the car feels as if it literally flattens any road imperfection before it reaches the interior. Even when cornering hard, the EQS SUV feels as planted as something that is thousands of pounds lighter, and the suspension is probably helped in delivering this feeling by the fact that its center of gravity is low thanks to the heavy battery in the floor. Speaking of the battery, the total capacity of the one Mercedes-Benz decided to use on its EQS models is a massive 120 kWh, of which up to 108.4 kWh are available. The two motors that comprise the powertrain offer a combined output of 536 horsepower and 633 pound-feet of torque, and can push the heavy Leviathan from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4.6 seconds according to official Mercedes-Benz data. As mentioned earlier, our car was equipped with 21-inch winter tyres, and during our test drive we consistently managed to do the 0 to 62 mile per hour test in around 4.4 seconds, meaning that in perfect conditions and with better tyres you could probably launch the EQS SUV 580 even harder than that. Not bad for a non-AMG version. Does all this make the EQS SUV a good alternative to the ICE-powered GLS? Unlikely, unless you agree with its shortcomings and you hate fossil fuel burning with a passion. Is it a good alternative to the EQS sedan though? Yes, and it might even be the better vehicle.